So hello everyone, welcome back to Creative Caring Workshop Part 2. I'm Marjorie Moulton and I'm here with my co-host and associate Joni Vonkeman, who's an art therapist. And my role with this is really in more the support and administrative side, volunteering with the clients and that sort of thing in this sort of creative endeavor that we work together called Arts Alzheimer's, which was a program that we ran successfully for many years for persons with dementia. And we just thought that it would be helpful to bring our learning to everyone, because the arts are for everyone, and creativity and caregiving can be a huge benefit to caregivers. And we have certainly seen that played out with the participants and their families that we've worked with over the years. So to start, we just thought we would talk a little bit about meaningful connection and emotional memory. And we have a little video to play for you that speaks to that. And Joni and I have both found over the years that in working with a person with dementia, that emotional memory is what they retain. So anything that's connected emotionally tends to be something that they hold on to, despite the fact that they have this disease that robs them of memory. So here's the video.
We sometimes think of the brain as a computer processor or a giant storage system, like this one here at Beamish Museum. A container for holding on to and organising all sorts of information and experiences. We rely on this kind of storage system to access and retrieve information that might be useful to us in the here and now. We're always putting demands on the brain in this way. What does this remind me of? How does this work? How should I feel about this? We know that some of our experiences don't become stored as long-term memories. We can't usually recall what we did this time last week or last year with any precision, unless we have prompts and clues to remind us. Most of us can't remember every detail of a conversation or of a TV programme. We usually hold on only to the bits that are meaningful to us, storing what we think we might need to know later on. When we experience something significant in our lives, these memories are more clearly catalogued and more easily retrievable. So we remember important milestones in our life, moments of great happiness, and moments of profound fear or sadness, much more easily than mundane happenings such as our regular commute to work. Being able to retain and share our memories with others is important to us, because this allows us to convey something about who we are and to establish points of connection. Feeling connected is such a vital part of our well-being. A recent study found that nearly 2/3 of people living with dementia feel isolated. By finding ways of helping people to understand each other, to communicate and to interact more effectively, we can have more positive experiences together. Understanding a person living with dementia's interpretation of their situation allows us to meet their needs and help them feel more comfortable.
So that video to me, I think, really drives home how important it is to not have a separation between ourselves and people with dementia, that really all of us are very much the same, right? I mean, we tend to store our memories that are more emotionally charged, whether that be positively or negatively. Those tend to be the stronger ones, the ones more easily recalled. We all want to feel connected and with others around us, and so I think that that is also similar. And so much of our ability to interact and have a positive experience of something is how we perceive it, right? How we think about something, how we speak about something, leads to our experience with that thing, whatever it might be. And so I think as part of this, we really wanted to look at those perceptions about dementia, and hopefully part of the mission of this sort of workshop and the work that you and I have done together, Joni, is to try and slowly change those perceptions of dementia. Mm-hmm. Because so often dementia is thought by many to be all about loss, all about deficit, all of the things that are no longer there, rather than a focus on what is still possible and what people retain. So if I can't remember the names of the people in my family, or the jobs or careers I might have had, or special achievements, or the holidays I've been on, all of that, these are all things that give us an identity, that tell us who we are. And unfortunately, dementia is something that comes in and sort of scrambles that all up often. And so it's important to understand that as we change our perception, part of that understanding is understanding that we are much more than all of those things, that we are in large part probably our emotions, right? Mm-hmm. Our emotions, our senses, we're our physical bodies, we're the movements that we make, the choices that we make, the preferences that we might have, and those might change from moment to moment, but there's still choices and preferences. And probably especially our sense of humor. We've certainly seen sense of humor come through in many of our clients, and I think some of those moments have been special for both of us, right? Mm-hmm. So many times sitting with clients, having a casual chat while we do something creative, and you don't know what they're taking in, and yet they'll come out with this hilarious statement or comment that's exactly bang on to what's going on. So much more than what we sometimes realize. But of course, dementia is loss. But that loss, it's a choice whether we make that the defining characteristic. It doesn't have to be that way. We can choose to focus on what still remains. And the reality is because there's really no difference between us and someone who has dementia. If people looked at us and judged us just by our losses or the deficits in our life, then none of us would come out looking too rosy.
No, that's so true.
So again, in changing perceptions and looking at language and the way we speak about this disease, sometimes we see a lot of really ugly and negative language around dementia. And it's important to really, I think, try and remove those words from your vocabulary when you speak about this disease. And so, creating a list here of some of the things that you might hear, and sometimes, you hear them publicly, like in media and things like that, to sensationalize something, by using suffer, afflicted, or victim, or, any of these really negative terminologies. But really, people with dementia want to be thought of just really no differently again than you or I, that they're just a person, or people with dementia, that they're living with dementia. And ultimately, part of what we're helping to achieve, or hoping to help them achieve, is to live well with dementia. That's a big part of the work that we do with carers. So, because people with dementia prefer words and descriptions that are accurate and balanced, and most especially respectful, right? That doesn't diminish their humanity or who they are as individuals or people. So changing those perceptions, hopefully, slowly, bit by bit, right? Chipping away.
Yeah.
And this quote is one that was brought forward by someone with dementia that, again, sums up the feelings that when we were diagnosed with Alzheimer's, I mean, you think it's the worst thing that can happen to you, but you still have life. And you still have to make sure that you still live your life and not just give up. And this is so true, because if we think of the length of time that someone spends living with a dementia, the average is about 10 years or a decade. That's a long time. And if we give up as a person with dementia, or we give up on them as those who care for them and support them, then that's a really long time to live like that. So it's so important to understand that they're really just like us. They just happen to have a disease.
Yeah, they haven't lost their humanity.
That's right.